Hi, everyone. I'm Alicia Greenberg with the Advertising Club of New York, and welcome to the virtual clubhouse and the Thunderdome. The virtual clubhouse will be programming content through the fall, but then we hope to go all hybrid, which we really look forward to because we really miss all of the networking and having people together in person. So we really look forward to that. So today's program is going to be a bit of a departure from what we ordinarily do. We're going to be doing 10 quick fire rounds, answering questions on topics that are important to out of home today. If there's more information that you want, write to me, Alicia, at theadvertisingclub.org. I can connect you with the speakers. We can provide answers to more questions and further information. We also are going to have quarterly newsletters on out of home. So look forward to those as well. In order to bring this content to life, we have a lot of partners we have to thank for helping us do this. So we have Broadsign, Capital, Clear Channel Outdoor, GSTV, Intersection, Lyft, OUTFRONT Media, Vector, Vistar, and our association partners, the DPAA, GeoPath, and the OAAA. So the community really comes together here at the clubhouse. We have over 300 people registered for this today. So many are members. So if you're not members, I encourage you to visit us online at theadvertisingclub.org and take a look at the thought leadership, the professional development, celebratory, and foundation-oriented programming we have going on throughout the year. And hopefully you're going to join us. I want to thank my partner, Meredith Lipson, and the team at the Ad Club for helping us pull this together, as well as our very dedicated committee chairs from the out-of-home community, media buyers in the realm. We have Jill Nickerson from Horizon Media, Brian Rappaport from Quan, Dave Uculo from Van Wagner, and our chair, Ryan Lau, with Omnet. He's president of Omnet, and we are going to hand it off to him to take us through this. Over to you, Ryan.
Thank you, Alicia, and hello, everyone. What an exciting day today is. It'll be interesting, but I'm excited to see how it unfolds. Welcome to the inaugural Out of Home Thunderdome. I guess I'll be playing Tina Turner for today. But I want to thank the Ad Club, Alicia and Meredith and Gina and the whole team for their unwavering commitment and support to the out of home industry. Of course, I want to thank our sponsors and all the speakers for making today possible. In December, we hosted the first ever virtual Out of Home Now conference. And it was streamed to over 750 viewers. That's about almost double what we typically see in live and in-person event. And as Alicia said, we couldn't be more excited to have over 300 participants currently logging in for today's virtual Thunderdome. And as we said in December, we're making good on our pledge to provide the media and advertising community with a fresh and thought-provoking conversation focused on the out-of-home marketplace and all it has to offer for brands. And we're going to continue this throughout the year until, again, hopefully we have a hybrid event at the end of this year, which some in-person programming that will be streamed live. Personally, I couldn't be more excited for today's lineup. We have a lot of new faces and new subject matter on today's agenda. And as you all know, and you guys have been to Ad Club out-of-home events in the past, that is something that we really strive to put out there. We know that there's a lot of redundancy in some of the content that happens in the out-of-home marketplace because it is such a niche market right now. But we were really excited to get some new faces, and we really do strive to bring new and fresh content each and every time. So, and today is certainly no exception to that. We also know your time is extremely valuable, and we all know we're all sitting on some form of video conference most of the day. So I think with today's Thunderdome format, it's ideal for delivering a fast-paced, super concentrated dose of compelling content. We'll have 10 rounds. Each round will have 2 guests. We'll have a sponsor paired up with an industry colleague, and they'll basically have 5 minutes to debate a single topic, and we'll keep moving. So it's going to be fast and furious. So listen, without further ado, let's get this action started. I'm going to turn it over to Jodi and Clive from OUTFRONT Media, who'll get us started on our first round in the Thunderdome. Thank you again, and good luck, Jodi and Clive.
Thanks, Ryan, and thanks to the Ad Club for having us. So I'm Clive Punter, CRO at OUTFRONT, and I'm joined by Jodi Senese, who's our CMO. And we're excited today to talk about purpose. As you know, brands are aligning with purpose. It's not a new phenomenon, but it's certainly more pronounced than ever. And it's not just new brands, very established brands have been doing purpose quite well. In fact, Chipotle focused on sustainability, transparency, and nutrition. Dove advocates of women and redefining beauty. Apple committed to bringing consumers and best user experience possible. And Bombas donates a pair of socks for every pair that get purchased. So why is this? It's because consumers care. In fact, according to Edelman, 64% of consumers would buy a brand solely based on its position on social or a political issue. And Havas research has showed that 77% of consumers buy from brands who share the same values they have. Now, this last year has seen a political, social, and health crisis, as we all know, and it's been a huge awakening that's accelerated purpose to the forefront. And we've seen it in out of home. Why? Because when people want to bring an issue to the forefront, guess what they do? They take it to the streets. As you can see from Uber aligned contextually relevant messaging with the March on Washington. And Twitter, the tweet in the Twitter photo says, "You can't hate slavery and support the system birthed from it." To quote Mark Pritchard, "Be a force for good and a force for growth." The permanence plus scale of out of home, the amplification through social platforms and support of local and community activism creates the perfect channel for purpose-driven messaging. Out of home is the on-purpose medium.
Over the course of the last 12 months, we have seen the entire out-of-home sector step up in unison to support purposeful messaging. Tens of millions of dollars and hundreds of millions of impressions were delivered across platforms large and small. The now iconic CDC messaging was posted across all out-of-home assets and all of the CDC's digital platforms, and still is. A unified industry effort to salute essential workers with a virtual 7 p.m. clap each evening last spring. Hashtag thank you messaging to frontline workers. This one is our version, but I know many out-of-home companies showed strong on this topic. Hashtag thank you extended to brands doing the right thing for the greater good. Here is an example of Ford. Congratulations to the class of 2020 who lost many senior year traditions. Maybe a Times Square billboard is ultimately more memorable than a walk down the high school football field. Local stimulus packages for businesses reopening and in need of the boost free media can provide, or a restaurant happy to have the neighborhood shout out at no cost. Thank you, teachers, returning to the classrooms last September unvaccinated. These are just a sprinkling of the journey now viewed through our rearview mirrors, but we stay the course as the world brightens. For Black History Month, we saluted trailblazing African-American women and men from diverse industries making history in real time. And for Women's History Month, this month, we acknowledge that we have come a long way from playing with paper dolls. Important messaging for us, our daughters, and our granddaughters. We are no longer playing, we are indeed players. Purpose is important for us as individuals, for our brands, our companies, and our customers. Purpose is something that drives us every day, and leaning into it gives us strength and conviction. As a celebration of Martin Luther King Day, we invited Michael Eric Dyson to speak with our clients as part of an A-list event. We have another esteemed guest invited for a May date during Mental Health Awareness Month. This guru is indeed an A-lister, and we would be happy to extend an invite to anyone who writes to me or Clive, Jodi at outfront.com or Clive at outfront.com. And in closing, I want to share Outfront's purpose, and that is to help make people, places, and businesses grow stronger.
To wrap, to win in this new customer purpose-driven era, every brand and every company is now focused on being on purpose. Out of home is the on purpose medium. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Just waiting for my guest to arrive here. Sue, you there? Thank you, Jodi and Clive, by the way. Great to see.
Do you not see me?
Purpose. Sue, we hear you. We're waiting for your video to turn on.
There we go. I just got a notification to start my video. How are you?
There you are. All right. Well, hi, everyone. I'm Eric Sherman, head of Insights and Analytics at GSTV, which is a national video network reaching 93 million unique viewers, or 1 in 3 American adults on a monthly basis. My guest today is Sue Cohen. She's the regional director at Outdoor Media Group of Companies. Sue leads all out-of-home investment for the entire PepsiCo portfolio at OMG. So Sue, our topic today is about reaching consumers now. What does that mean to you, and what's changed in the past year?
A lot has changed in the past year. Basically, obviously, you know, working on this type of business, we've always wanted to reach consumers. So that has not changed. You know, what has changed really is the now part. Where we've reached them before is obviously different than where we've reached them pre-COVID. That whole day in the life journey that became the Bible has definitely changed its course. So now the challenge is figuring out, and continues to be, you know, where the traffic is, and most importantly, where the traffic is not. And, you know, the insights that you and your team at GSTV have shared over the past year and continue to share have been so helpful and insightful in helping us to understand not only in your space where that traffic is, but the broader digital out-of-home landscape. And it really has been one channel that has been so consistent and reliable for us before, during, and post-COVID, because we never really lost traffic there. If anything, we gained it.
That makes a ton of sense. You obviously need to keep an eye on traffic with things sort of shifting so much around mobility. And, you know, at GSTV, as you pointed out, we've been very fortunate to have such a resilient network.
Totally.
You know, fuel being such an essential item, you know, no matter what kind of is going on in the world. And I know we're talking about reach and reaching consumers now, but beyond reach, you know, on our end, we're seeing that clients are asking more and more about business outcomes. Are you getting those questions too? And has that allowed you to make a stronger case for out of home or for digital out of home?
We get those questions every single day, several times a day. You know, we always did get them, but now, of course, we're getting them. I feel like the answer to everything is always now. It's more than ever. We're definitely getting them more than ever, because after the year that we spent, you know, the clients want to make sure that they know that every single dollar is working hard. So yes, they're definitely asking us about the outcome and the results every single day. And, you know, because sales is such an important objective for Pepsi, particularly single serve sales, because single serve is really where the beverage wars exist. So it is much easier for us to make a case for a network like a GSTV, because we know instinctively and because of results that we directly drive sales in that space, in the convenience channel particularly, which is obviously the biggest driver for single serve. So, you know, while reach is certainly a key driver, especially for new products, because we have no benchmark for new products in terms of sales. So there we're looking for awareness, and we know that the footprint delivers on that awareness, but at the end of the day, sales is key.
That's great to hear, and obviously sales is of course important for all brands, but particularly as you point out for one like Pepsi. Beyond driving sales, though, how do you think about the differentiation between, let's say, traditional posters and bulletins, which everyone here is very familiar with, and a video network like GSTV, which also operates in the out-of-home space as well? They can all reach consumers, as we're talking about, but what factors kind of drive your choice, one versus the other? What's driving that differentiation in your mind and in your client's mind?
Well, I mean, there's several key differentials. Proximity and path to purchase, obviously a big one, but that's probably the most obvious one. So we don't really need to dig into that. A big differential for us is the platform helps with customer relationships and brand relationships. And what I mean by that is not to the consumer. That's the obvious one. The not obvious one is Pepsi's retail partners in the C&G space. All of those retailers are huge customers for them. So when they see that we're investing in this space, that really only helps Pepsi grow those relationships with those retailers. So that's a huge thing. Measurement, definitely can't leave out measurement.
My favorite topic.
What?
I said that's my favorite topic.
That is such a big topic, and it always has been, but again, now more than ever, as I keep saying, now more than ever. And the depth and detail that we get from the GSTV research is invaluable for the nature of the business. And it really is a huge part of what has been like a magnet for our clients to this business. And then of course, gravy is the sight, sounds, and motion. The brand folks, beyond the media folks, love the video aspect of it. They love all of that. And they love that GSTV helps them create their spots.
That's great to hear, and I think we're about out of time. So I'll ask you one more question, Sue.
Sure.
What do you see ahead? Looking ahead towards the future, what are your clients most excited about in the out-of-home and digital out-of-home space?
So, the digital, the programmatic, the dynamic ad serving, being able to extend digital out-of-home into social media platforms is a biggie. And I really think going towards the future, if they're able to find a way to turn on a light switch and light up the country with, a digital out-of-home message at once would be huge for them. They may not like the price tag, but they love the concept and the possibility.
Got it. Fast and easy. That's what we all want. So quickly wrapping up, reaching consumers was harder than usual over the past year, but you've kept a close eye on traffic and you've been able to deliver on your clients' objectives. Specifically for Pepsi, reach is important, but so is driving business outcomes. And the ability to advertise on the path to purchase and then measure that impact has been more important now than ever for you. Did I get that right?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much, Sue, and thank you all for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Hey everyone.
Hi, I think I'm online. Thank you, Eric and Sue, for the interesting conversation. And I'm happy to join you today, Wade. I'm excited to talk about how out-of-home enhances omnichannel media buy. I am Kumi Ebihara. I lead the inventory partnerships team at Verizon Media. Wade?
Hi all. I'm Wade Rifkin. I'm the general manager of programmatic here at Clear Channel Outdoor in the US. So Kumi, excited to have you here as well. Our topic today is about out-of-home integrating with DSPs to enhance the omni-channel programmatic approach that they're taking. And because of that, I can't think of anyone better to have comment on that. So, you all at Verizon Media have one of the longest standing, most robust tech stacks in the industry. And it's been pretty clear that over the last couple of years, your DSP has gained a lot of traction with advertisers, with agencies. So we'd love to have you tell us what's been driving that momentum for you all.
Well, thank you so much for highlighting Verizon Media's tech stacks. I would say that first and foremost, Verizon's very robust first-party data is the key driver here. And I would also add that the ease of onboarding advertisers' own data or leveraging third-party data on our platform has been really an important one and generating interest from advertisers.
Got it. Tough to argue. You guys have a host of great data available to you. So switching gears a little bit to the media side of things, you have access to and coverage across a ton of media channels. So what attracted you to out of home?
That's really a great question. So out of home was the missing link for us, really. And Verizon Media DSP can reach audiences on desktop, mobile, and connected devices. And out-of-home advertising is very different in a way that it reaches consumers while they're outside experiencing life. And it was very important for us to make the investment to provide out-of-home solutions.
No, that's great. Speaking for many people here, we love to hear that. So going a little deeper on that, once you made the decision to build, digital out of home out as a channel and productize around it, what have you done since then for the channel? What differentiates your out of home solution from, what your competitors offer?
We're very proud of the digital out-of-home products that we've developed at Verizon Media. So as we were learning and exploring out-of-home opportunities, we really quickly understood and realized how sophisticated the out-of-home exchanges and media owners were in terms of programmatic transactions. And I really cannot overstate the importance of partnering with key media owners, such as your team, Wade, at Clear Channel, to develop the out-of-home products for DSPs. And in terms of the products that we developed, we have several self-serve tools, including Out-of-Home Planner, which is a visual tool and very popular with our users. And since we are talking about omnichannel DSPs, definitely let's not forget the targeting capabilities. All the targeting that's available for other channels are now enabled for out-of-home campaigns. And really, thank you so much for partnering with us. Your team at Clear Channel has been tremendous in bringing our product to what they are today. And so again, switching gears to you, Wade. How about you on your side? You're one of the first media owners to develop digital out-of-home PMP solutions, working with omnichannel DSPs and SSPs. How is it different today than years in the past?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And I would say it's pretty markedly different. So we've been doing this for going on 5 years, which is tough to believe since we first rolled out our PMP solution. Back in late 2016, we had one SSP partner and just a handful of DSPs that we worked with. And when you fast forward to today, we work with 4 SSPs, and that provides access of our inventory to over 30 different DSPs across out of home and omnichannel. I will say not all of them have invested and productized in the channel the way that you guys have. So that's fantastic. But the pure scale there in terms of partners or available entities to work with, I should say, really makes true partnerships so important, right? And we look at a partnership as a counterpart that is responsive to you, that collaborates with you, that's willing to launch and deliver campaigns together and test alphas and betas, right? All that kind of stuff is not all that common in the industry. And I think we have a great engagement model, and that's been a key driver to our success.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And that just sounds great. And so what's next for you in how you're working with omnichannel DSPs this year? And we really hope to get a first look at whatever you're rolling out.
You will. So I know we're running short on time, so just a few quick hits there. It's really just understanding, what our DSP partners like you guys are doing in this space to customize to the channel, and figuring out bigger kind of meatier topics like how do we optimize together, right, for more impact for advertisers in their campaigns. We're rolling out some new inventory formats. So especially as the weather warms up, travel picks up, we have the New York airports across LaGuardia, JFK, and Newark. We had some great spectaculars in the heart of Manhattan, Midtown and Times Square. All those are PMP enabled and ready for real-time biddable transaction. We're going to continue to test the waters with things like dynamic creative and bringing advertiser first-party data to the table, but applied in a one-to-many way for our channel. So a lot of exciting stuff to come there, and we're looking forward to continuing to partner with you all as things progress. So that pretty much sums it up for us, and hopefully that gave a sense for everybody on how leading DSP partner and media owner are working together programmatically today. A lot more to be done, but Meredith and the Ad Club team, thanks for having us, and back to you guys.
All right. I guess it's our turn.
It is.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christian Dion. I'm the Marketing Director, Programmatic Solution here at Broadsign. For some of you who might not know Broadsign, in 15 seconds, we make software to help out-of-home media owners better sell, manage outdoor advertising. And for media buyers and agency folks like you, you can buy ads on thousands of screens across the globe that are connected to our Broadsign Reach SSP. They're available via 34 DSPs, so we have a lot of options. But to tell you more about the potential of DCO for brands, I'd like to introduce you today to a friend of us, Keith Nilsen. Keith is the founder of VOODOOH, which is an agency that provides 100% independent creative services to the digital out-of-home industry. So Keith, it's all yours. Would you like me to share the screen?
Yes, please, if you didn't mind. Thanks, Christian. Hi, everyone. So DCO, what is it? It's actually rather simple, but you do need to be aware immediately of definitions depending on who you talk to. So DCO, if you're talking to a creative technologist, might mean creative A/B testing in real time. If you're talking to a person or a designer who tends to work more online, he might be looking at creative resizing, all the variations of that. But for the purposes of digital out of home, we look at it as intelligent data integrated creative content, and how do you make that work? So I guess the first question, really, Christian, if you could switch slide, is it worth doing, right? So as Christian said, as some of the other panelists have said, it's all about getting content onto screens in efficient ways, in targeted ways, etc. But how does digital content fit into that? How does optimized digital content fit into that? And is it worth doing? Exactly, right? So let me just expand my screen, Christian, bear with me a sec. So is it worth doing? 100% yes, right? So there's been some studies, some industry studies. Some of these facts are taken off Tuco, Clear Channel, Postscope, Moments of Truth study from last year, where they researched and found that if you target your campaign, just in a logical, relevant moment, that's to say advertising ice creams when it's hot, nothing more than that, you would automatically have a 12% increase in brain response of the person viewing that ad. There's just a subliminal connection between what they're seeing on the screen, the ad, and the environment that they're in. So definitely worth it. That's just relevant moment, right? But if you then, next slide, please, Christian, if you could then target not only a relevant moment, but switch over, Christian. But if you could target relevant content with it, right? So what do we mean by that? We mean that you're now bringing into the content a reference point that adds visual context to that relevance. So for example, you're now putting on live temperature onto the screen, or you might be putting on a raining symbol or a snowing symbol or something. You might be displaying the upcoming or the current snow depth versus forecasted snow depth. And when you do relevant content, when you display relevant content on the screen in relation to your campaign, your dynamic campaign, what the study, the Moments of Truth study realized was that there's an 18% increase in brain response. So if you then combine the two, if you would switch, Christian, thank you. So if you're now dropping content or campaign onto an out-of-home booking, and you're combining both the relevant moment and relevant content, i.e. you're seeing something connected to that, that context on the screen, the studies show that there's a massive 32% increase in brain response. And you know, it's not difficult stuff to do. You know, it's really common, and it's been possible for a long time. It's been possible from the beginning of out of home generally. So is it worth doing, right? So 100% yes. In the UK, I don't have the myself and Christian did look for global figures, but we couldn't get anything that we felt was robust. But if you look at just the UK digital billings in 2019 was $958 million, which is a huge sum, right? And so you would think that there's an awful lot of dynamic happening. Not right. It's completely incorrect. At best, we believe there's 8% of all campaigns in the UK currently having any kind of dynamic or optimized content activity within those campaigns. And if it's 8% in the UK, the story globally is even more heartbreaking, I would say, because you're looking at, you know, only 1 to 2%. Now, if you imagine all the campaigns that, you know, the various panelists, the various media owners at present, you know, if you imagine the sheer volume of campaigns that are happening every week, every month, every year across our industry, to see that there's such a low uptake of the inherent intelligence of the medium it's just mad. It's just absolute madness, especially when you see those brain responses that have been proven in studies. So why is it not happening, right? Why is it not happening? Number one, I would say, is clients coming to the table with uninformed or unrealistic expectations, right? When myself and Christian started this conversation, when we were briefing this event, Christian almost disregarded a simple thing like a weather campaign, you know, and when I pressed him, you realize that a lot of clients are not even doing the basic stuff, right? So the other perception is that, and there's a number of reasons for this. The other perception is that it is very complex, and therefore it is very costly. And the third reason is that you have these hundreds of media owners. You know, you've got the big players, but you have hundreds of smaller ones as well. And so therefore it must be a very complicated thing to do, you know, both technically and, you know, from a technical point of view in terms of ecosystems, plus technical knowledge within both clients and media owners. And one of the other problems is as well that clients tend to see things like British Airways Lookup. If you could just run this video, I'm sure many of you are aware of this campaign.
Oh,
but basically it was produced back a couple of years ago, and it was a triggered campaign where a child pointed to an airplane going overhead in real time when that airplane was a British Airways airplane, when it was within visibility, subject to cloud height, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. And this is what clients tend to want when they talk about dynamic campaigns. Mm-hmm. And that's grand, right? That's absolutely brilliant. There's nothing wrong with ambition. But there's no chance that you can do this either as a client, as a brand, as an agency, or as a media owner, unless you've done the stuff that we're all, you know, have been speaking about for many years, but very few of us have actually done. And so it comes back to, what do you do? Where do you start, right? So you have to start, and back to the point that Christian made when we were talking about simple campaigns. Everybody is tired of talking about weather campaigns, but very few people have done them. You know, everybody's you know, a bit jaded about triggered, you know, conditional triggers, but very few people have done them. So where do you start? You start at the basics. Just do it. You know, stop talking about it. Come up with a concept, work with your partners, your client partners, your media owner partners, your software partners, your platform partners, whether it's programmatic, whatever it might be, and just do it. Try something simple. And when Susan earlier was saying, wouldn't it be great to be able to activate a campaign across tens of thousands of screens? The truth is that you can do that now. You can do that now. We are seeing more standardization, more adoption of common platforms, common processes, common language even. And within all that, if you start doing campaigns, things naturally happen. And the things that naturally happen are you increase your capabilities, and within your capabilities, you increase your confidence. And if we can do those two things, plus continue to embrace standardization across the entire industry, the scenario that Susan wanted earlier or outlined earlier is completely doable. You can take a single file, a single 1920, 1080 file. And currently, certainly within Broadsign environment, you could probably target, close to between 25 to 30,000 panels globally. The power is there, but we got to stop talking about it and do it.
Love it. Thank you, Keith.
My pleasure, sir.
Have a great day.
Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Faizan. I am one of the co-founders of a company called Halo Cars. We engage with local audiences by attaching smart monitors on the roofs of vehicles. As the vehicles drive around, we show hyper-targeted local content based on the exact location of the vehicle, time of day and day of week. Halo Cars was acquired by Lyft in 2019. My team and I now co-lead Lyft Media. And I'm here today with Charles from Candid. We were asked to elaborate on the topic of connecting with local audience and communities, and I could not think of anyone better to talk about that than Charles. Charles, let you quickly introduce yourself as well.
Awesome. Charles Fulford, I am ECD at a company called Candid, which Faizan mentioned, which is a healthcare startup that is kind of redefining orthodontics and teleorthodontics, as well as kind of remote patient care. So as you can imagine, the past year was kind of fantastic for our industry. And if Faizan, if you want to project the slides that we have, what I'll do before we get into like the numbers and nitty gritty that Faizan will take you through, is I wanted to give you all a little bit of creative setup as how this particular campaign came to be. We at Candid, as previous speakers spoke about, brand purpose, as Keith was just talking about with dynamic creative, we just had this moment that all came together. As a brand, you want to culturally be relevant, and you want to be involved with societal things that are going on. And as everybody knows, last year was just completely bonkers. And we were thinking about at Candid, how can we authentically kind of get involved in the moment and in the zeitgeist, but authentically being the key word there. We saw, and everybody saw, a lot of creative being made that was around your 7 p.m. claps and around your these uncertain times pieces, which of course were all good, and there's nothing wrong with 7 p.m. claps and whatever, but we wanted to find something that was unique to Candid. Candid straightens people's teeth, but really what we do is we allow people to kind of build confidence and express themselves better as a byproduct of straightening your teeth and kind of eroding those personal insecurities. And so we were kind of paying attention to what was going on. And if people remember, there was an article that came out, I think it was a LinkedIn article that was by this club owner in New York, and he was saying how New York was dead. And then there was this Jerry Seinfeld op-ed piece that came out, and he was basically like, who is this putz? And this whole thing erupted. I'm sure that it filled your feeds for over a week. And ultimately we saw this moment, and we were all having a conversation about it. And we were saying, you know what, that's BS. This place cannot be dead. Like, this is New York. This is inspiration incarnate. This is like where people come to express themselves. And all of a sudden started to have this idea of, hey, you know what? I think that this is the cultural moment that we want to get involved with. And when we started to brainstorm and think about how we could do this in an authentic way to the brand, we started to look around, okay, like New York, what are the icons? And we started to look around, we saw that, hey, yellow cabs are one of the most iconic New York things there. And that's when we stumbled upon Halo and what Faizan and his team put together. And it just all started to click. And as Keith talked about with dynamic creative before, we had this light bulb or LED, if it were, light that went off in our head. And what we decided to do was to inject some positivity into New York, right at the moment of when everybody was, thinking about the future of New York, and have people remember how fantastic New York is, how inspirational New York is. And we came up with a campaign called Smile On. And what we did as part of this campaign was use the technology from Halo and Lyft to be able to inject geo-specific creative to specific neighborhoods in Manhattan and Brooklyn. So what we were able to do is to within, I think it was like within 4 days, our really small team at Candid came out with, I think, like 80 pieces of creative that were all animated, that we swiftly shift off to Faizan. And what would happen was when a cab would go from the West Village to up into Times Square, that creative would be triggered, and you would get geo-specific creative to speak to that audience at that certain time. And so we were able to kind of bring in these moments for people to smile, bring in these pieces that highlighted certain areas of the neighborhood that they were in that they should be proud of. And whether it was Central Park being your local 842 acre park, or whether it was about Times or theater district where your Sopranos get Tonys, or there were lots of great kind of word plays that we used, lots of great kind of New York iconic elements that we used to imbue this in there. And then the last part of the campaign was, as this started to gain traction and people loved it, we had a landing page that went along here where people could then go and put in their own reasons to smile for New York. And we went and created bespoke creative out of that, sent it back to Faizan and got it up. So then it became user-generated content as well. So we thought it was a fantastic example of how we were able to be hyper-specific, hyper-local with the campaign and get into the communities, but then also to take that the community involvement and turn it back into a campaign for at a home. So we thought it was a fantastic kind of example to bring up here today. And Faizan, the technology behind it and the team that Faizan has, we're able to do this in a matter of days and get it up and running. And it ran for about a month. And Faizan's going to kind of tell you about the results there.
Yeah, thank you. That was super helpful. And we love this campaign, right? It was exactly what our medium is built for. It's to deliver local content, very hyper audience segmentation on the location end, on the time end. It's exactly what the campaign was doing. So if you imagine in New York City, a network of hundreds of vehicles driving in different areas, and each of them is showing very curated content specific for that location, and people that are walking. And this is it's a time of the world where people wanted uplifting content. It's gloomy outside. There's all kinds of work from home orders, and New York is not what it used to be. And just to see like a Reasons to Smile campaign, I thought it was brilliant. And we weren't the only ones. I can walk through performance in a little bit too, but Charles alluded to this. People started picking up on this. So we got a lot of organic press on this, ad reads. People were talking about this as the love letter to New York City during a time when New York needs it most. Marketing Brew wrote about this and a lot of others as well. And the campaign actually performed incredibly well. People were connecting with the content. We actually placed pixels. I'll quickly show you guys a slide. We placed pixels on Candid's website, both on the homepage and landing page, to track that people that were exposed to the content out in the wild, how many of them were actually going to the website? What action were they taking? And if you go to the performance slide, we're short on time, but it was some of the best performance we've seen. The conversion uplift was 165%, website uplift was 35%, and this is based off of an actual authentic control group. So the campaign, one, visually was beautiful. It was this really good content. Charles and his team absolutely crushed it there. We had all kinds of hyper-local geo-targeted content as well that was just very curated for each small neighborhood. It performed really well, and it also got organic press. So I think on the topic of out-of-home being used to actually engage with local audiences and communities, I think it's still one of the best mediums out there to be able to do that. So Meredith, back to your team. Thank you everyone for your time.
Thanks, y'all.
Hello, everyone. We all here? All right, Cory, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, Gary?
Good. Guys, I love the phrase "smile on." I just have to say that. Hello, everyone. I'm Gary Greenstein from Vector Media, the CRO, and I'm thrilled to be here as part of the Ad Club Out of Home Thunderdome. I love this quick-fire format, and Vector is really happy to support the cause and our industry. I'm pleased to be joined by Cory Greaver, the CMO of Volly, the first clean tequila seltzer. Cory, thank you for being here, man, and sharing your experience and throwing down some knowledge for us. I've enjoyed every step of our working relationship. Not only do we both work hard, but we have fun doing it. And I very much respect the way you think. I believe your experience in out-of-home is a microcosm of how emerging brands across our country are beginning to unleash the innovation of our format. So I think everyone in the audience is going to be excited to hear from you. So I'll start it out. Tell us a little bit about, tell the audience about the Volly product launch and your evolution.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks for the intro, Gary, and great to be here, everyone. So as Gary mentioned, Volly is a new tequila seltzer that is made with organic juice, high quality tequila, and just sparkling water. So we're trying to break into an incredibly competitive and crowded sector, as you have all probably experienced as consumers. And as a new product with zero brand association, out-of-home made perfect sense when we were thinking about our go-to-market strategy in New York. So last summer, we partnered with Vector and did a number of different bus wraps all across the Hamptons, which is where we knew our target audience was. So Red Antler did all of our creative and super excited about that. We then did a large static digital out-of-home billboard on your way out to the Hamptons, which was our first test into digital out-of-home as a new brand. And most recently, we launched with a network of digital out-of-home transit buses throughout New York City, which is something that's new to Vector. So kind of a nice culmination, a nice story of how the original Hamptons bus wrap ultimately is ended with this digital out-of-home transit network. And really interesting from an advertiser's perspective to see how this industry has evolved over the past year.
Yeah, I think let's dive into that a little bit more because that's our quick fire round topic is really about the innovation. Where do you see out-of-home fit within your omnichannel media mix over at Volly?
Yeah, so I feel like the silo has finally been broken down and out-of-home is now being able to fit into the digital consumer journey, at least for Volly. So what we're currently doing is we are retargeting all of the exposed out-of-home consumers across all of our channels and platforms across our entire media mix. So this is everything when thinking about paid social, this is Facebook and Instagram. When we think about paid programmatic through the Trade Desk, one of our closest partners, we're doing connected TV, online video, display. There's so many other channels such as native and audio. We could also be leveraging the same strategy. So out of home has honestly earned a full seat at the table in my eyes across the entire funnel.
Cory, first of all, I'm sure everyone on this call is excited to hear about that. And like so many other brand marketers out there, it seems like you started your relationship with out of home as a brand building mechanism. And it seems like within the last year or so, you've begun to incorporate out of home into your lower funnel strategy, which I'm sure everyone on this call knows is our holy grail and everything we've all been working towards to get to. Although not many people probably know that you wear two hats in this business. You're also the director of trading strategy over at the Trade Desk. So I think you really can provide a really unique perspective to the audience. Why don't you give us a little bit more information on like how are you using the breakthrough in technology and innovation and measurement in the out-of-home space, and it's certainly in transit.
Yeah, definitely. So with my Volly CMO hat on, it was super easy to say that this out-of-home buy made complete sense. The creative was incredible. And then for my trade desk hat, not being able to measure that out-of-home bus was difficult to do. So, and we had no idea how to think about ROI when doing this Jitney takeover. If you want to pull up this slide, we have a visual, but over the past year, I mean, the industry has evolved so much. And out-of-home not only fits into the overall media mix, like we just talked about, across different platforms and across different channels, but we're now able to track consumer actions such as like a page visit, and that's being a where to buy Volly, or an e-commerce purchase, or even something like a click on a paid search campaign. So super interesting to now being able to attribute all those consumer actions across all different points of the funnel, especially starting with digital out-of-home and out-of-home. And I think that's one of the biggest differences that I've seen is, as a digital first marketer, I didn't understand that this was only available within all of out-of-home, not just digital out-of-home. So something that was super exciting. And this slide just shows a little bit of that representation of that full path to purchase, thinking about these different channels, and then thinking about my ultimate goal is trying to get a user onto the site of where to buy or where to look up Volly.
No, it's great. And Vector is really thrilled to be bringing near real-time impressions, audience data, attribution to the entire transit platform across the country, not just digital. I think you make a really good point. That's a huge evolution for all of us in the industry. And that slide there, I think you can replace Vector with just out of home. And like for everyone on this call to see out of home on that same line of path to conversion as Instagram and Hulu, I think everyone here would agree that that's putting out of home in our rightful place, the place that we've been building towards to get to. And I think it's really exciting for all of us. And in fact, to see us leading that as opposed to maybe in the past being an afterthought is a huge breakthrough for all of us. And we thank you for that as an industry to move us forward. We don't have too much time left, so let's do one more question. Where do you see out of home evolving to?
Yeah, honestly, now that it can be included within my measurement framework, this budget has a secure spot on my marketing plan. I can defend this budget to my CFO, and I can show that ultimately out of home and digital out of home are driving sales, which is the #1 KPI that I'm held to as a CMO. So it's earned its keep.
It's great. Cory, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. We knew this time was going to fly by, yet it is never a bad time for a refreshing, clean tequila seltzer. Cheers to you, my friend. And everybody go try Volly. Back to you, Meredith and Lisa.
Awesome. Good morning, Ad Club. Really nice to see everyone. Good morning, Maureen. Very nice.
Hi, Eileen.
I'm feeling quite inspired with the tequila seltzer conversation that we just had. No, it's not even.
That was a very good one. Very good. I don't know when Cory sleeps.
Yeah.
He wears a lot of hats, Cory. I don't know how you do it.
I think that was actually the perfect segue into this conversation, though, into thinking about the post-pandemic world, which I know we're all thinking a lot about at Intersection, and certainly your team and you are thinking about at Kinetics. So for those of you who I don't know, hello, my name's Eileen Crossin. I am the VP of National Sales and Brand Strategy at Intersection. For those of you who don't know the company, we are a media and technology company focused on improving life for consumers in cities. And I'm joined by the wonderful Maureen today. Maureen, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Maureen Mccluskey. I'm the managing director for Kinetic Worldwide here in the US, based in New York, and currently working out of Queens, New York with my husband and 5-month-old baby. So just trying to stay awake.
We should have brought in a little picture of Franny. I'm sure that would have gotten everybody excited. But instead, we'll talk about transit media.
Yes,
which is also an exciting topic. So let's dig right in, because I know we don't have a lot of time, and we certainly have a lot of thoughts on this subject. We know that consumer journeys have shifted dramatically as a result of the pandemic. And so as you think about Kinetic and Group M's clients' media goals, how do you think the transit solution offered by out-of-home partners like Intersection deliver against audience targeting goals?
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of conversations that we've had lately with brands and or agency teams as of late has really been around the reopening and sort of that summer draw out, and how can brands use that as the backdrop of how they come back out. And so it's thinking about, you know, how can we reset, you know, societal norms. And so those have been a lot of the conversations we've had, whether it's been with, you know, Uber, Degree, or some of the Mars brands, like how do they use that as the backdrop? But from a transit and street level perspective, what it does is it draws us into the local communities. And you've always done that, but the importance has never been greater with the change in mobility and where everyone is. And, you know, they're not following those same patterns. So to really capitalize on that local aspect is really huge.
Yeah, I love that. And we've been talking a lot about, for so long, out of home has been seen as a location-based medium. And we have so many solutions to be able to help you plan against audiences, right? Which is the whole, Gary talked about the holy grail, to be able to find those audiences and retarget them, or whatever the mechanism might be, is the important piece. So I feel like that's really coming full circle for brand marketers right now. So that's super exciting. So I love what you said about with cities reopening in the coming months, the playbook has to change again for marketers, right? And so from an outcomes perspective, from a performance perspective, why do you think a transit solution, for example, especially at street level, knowing that that sort of moment of being out is going to be so critical, will support the omnichannel media mix for your clients?
You know, we know the channel drives performance. I can't say it enough. We have all collectively tested it. We know it works. We just have to continue to amplify that to all of our audiences, whether that's our brands that we work with or our agency partners. And that doesn't change because of COVID. You know, a lot of what we have to do, right, is talk about this pendulum swinging between reality and perception, like what everyone perceives it to be and what the reality actually is. And that's where like data is so huge to everything that we've been doing at Kinetic, really since, you know, we sort of came out of the fog of last March, and dusted ourselves off and said, okay, we got to move forward. How do we do that? I think the realization is that, you know, it's time to begin a new normal, and brands need to realize like the power of the channel and all that it can do to deliver on that. You know, its reach is still going to be huge, but doing that locally is equally as important. So we're looking forward to it, and it's incumbent upon all of us to draw that message out from everyone.
Right. So it's audience, it's localization plus reach, but then it's being able to measure it on the back end. And the advancements that the industry has made have been so significant in terms of what we can measure, really looking top to bottom of the funnel, like we just saw in the last presentation. And so that education process that needs to continue to happen to make sure that brands really understand what we can deliver, whether it's transit at street level or, you know, or other formats.
Yeah, I think, you know, the word like you and I talk a lot about is, you know, it's overused, but it's so true. It's the agility and the versatility of the channel. And I think that's missing from a lot of folks' lexicon. I mean, and that's really our job collectively as an industry, to get them rethinking that this, yes, we build brands. Yes, we do. But we're much more than that. And it's pretty awesome what's going on in the channel.
Yeah, rethink out of home, rethink transit media, because it can certainly over deliver. I know we need to wrap up. What's the sort of one thing on your wish list? We're all talking about innovation. We're all talking about metrics. We're talking about new data sets. We're talking about different ways to execute with DCO today. What's on Maureen's wish list for 2021 for your clients?
Well, spend. But yeah, I think it's just my wish list is we continue to talk about the power of the channel and all of the things that it can do. And my wish is that the message sinks and we start seeing, some altering of how brands think about us, how they spend against us. And, the other thing is just working with partners like you and the myriad of other of our partners, making sure our story is aligned.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Well, it was so great to see you. Thanks everybody to Ad Club for inviting us, and enjoy the rest of the Thunderdome.
All right. Ready to rock, Rick?
I am here.
Awesome. So quick intros, because I know we have limited time today, but I'm Lucy Markowitz, head of US demand sales at Vistar Media, the leading programmatic out-of-home technology company. And I'm here with one of my favorite clients. This is Rick Robinson, artist extraordinaire, and of course, his day job too as Chief Strategy Officer at BillUp. So our topic today is delivering more quality data points than ever before. And I think Maureen and Eileen talked about how data can be used to reach the right people, kind of prove to the world we're coming out of COVID. So I think this dovetails really well into this Q&A that Rick and I kind of put together. So I think just to start this off, I think the immense amount of data that is used in out of home is often overlooked, with it being such a traditional medium. And so I think today we kind of want to change some of those assumptions. And so let's start off, Rick, why does data matter more than ever in out of home?
Why does data matter more than ever? In short, it's just making us smarter in all levels, both in our upfront planning and then after the buys, we look to improve planning for our next buy. And when you think about it, out of home is very blunt and simple at its core. We find your people, we find your audience, where they live, where they go, all of that, and we put out of home messages in front of them. We also know that people will look at these messages when you give them something relevant to look at. And for years, for decades actually, our industry's out of home planning experts relied mostly on what I like to call tribal knowledge, that firsthand intelligence acquired over time, hundreds of market rides, going into the physical world and resulting in like real life learning and expectations. But now by embracing all this location data, audience and exposure data around us, we're adding facts and a stronger sense of certainty to our game. And I think this is extra important as the mobility patterns have evolved, perhaps permanently over the last year. I was just talking to a supplier this morning who was talking about a vaccine showing or a city park showing. The weekends in LA are now rush hour. And so these patterns have moved and our assumptions about how out of home works has changed, and we need to have the facts and the science to back that up. So, mixing this formula of mixing data with our out of home talent, with our natural inventive thinking, and of course, with intriguing and well-designed creative, all of that together puts wind at our backs. And I think knowing this and exploiting this mindset and this practice is especially critical right now, because all of us are working to convert our planning into actual campaigns. And we need the data. It makes us smarter, makes our clients more confident. Every client loves seeing their brand up in an out of home campaign. They love seeing it on the streets. But the data creates more certainty in that investment.
Yeah, I think you bring up a really good point, which is that the data helps to prove why someone should be investing or a brand should be investing in out of home. But data only is going to do part of that job. You really have to mix that with the creative and the context and the content that you're showing to really make the most of that medium. And I think if you do that well, the sort of flip side of using that data for planning and selection of screens is then the ability to now be able to use data to understand who was exposed to your campaign and start actually providing tangible results back to your client to help them reinvest in the channel. And as Maureen mentioned, you know, we all want to see out of home investment coming back, but at the same time, you know, what types of KPIs are now measurable in out of home that we can sort of prove why should people be investing?
What we're all looking for is lift, right, of all sorts. I mean, that's what the clients want to see, and that can come in many ways: site visitations for QSR, you know, online traffic for D2C brands, app downloads for digitally native brands. There's multiple ways you can track that. But what's important here to know, and I think we're going to see more and more of this necessity going forward, is that all of this can be made much more accurate with first-party sharing. The client participation is necessary and powerful, especially if we can see historical sales data. You know, you've got to have that true partnership. I also want to point out and just ask people not to forget that there's great value in simple brand awareness studies or brand intent studies. They might seem basic and non-specific, but they tell a really useful story, and we've seen them deployed often and with quite a lot of effectiveness where the brands put weight on them and see them as materially relevant for less transactional categories, let's say like healthcare or finance or things like that.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I know we have to wrap it up quick, but just lastly, I want to kind of spotlight on our work together. Billups has been leaning in on programmatic buying. I know, you know, you kind of look at yourself as, or previously as, you know, an out-of-home specialty shop, but that definition is really expanding and moving into programmatic, and lucky enough to be partnering with us. And I guess with that, and us kind of working together, why do you think that your media planners are now leaning in on programmatic, and kind of bringing this to your clients?
Well, look, we love using data for out-of-home planning and measurement. We have for some time. And so the programmatic ecosystem allows us to leverage the same data used in the online world. So it's a natural extension of who and what we've been for quite a while. And there's all the tactical benefits as well, the flexibility and optimization. But mostly we are leaning into programmatic because it serves our vision for speed and precision. You know, in the end, Billups exists to make out-of-home easily accessible and more accountable, easily accessible and more accountable. And data and programmatic feed into that.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Rick. And thanks to partners like you for helping us move the channel forward.
Pleasure to be a part of this. Take care, everybody.
I think you're on mute, Barry.
How's that now?
Good, I can hear you.
Okay, and can you see me?
I can see you.
Good, because I've lost the total screen here. Ah, there we go. Hi, Maureen.
Hi.
Good to see you. I've got Maureen Mccloskey with me today, and
I'm
she's managing director back from her intersection chat, which was great. Well done there. See if we could add a little bit to it here today. And I'm glad you're double booked, and I'm proud to have a chat with you as well.
Yeah,
for those
thanks
of you
for having me.
Excellent. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Barry Fry, CEO of DPAA, the Global Trade Marketing Association. We connect brands to the industry, and we're moving the industry to digital. I do want to thank the Ed Club of New York. This is a great format, moving it along, and we're going to try to move it along pretty quickly today, Gina and Alicia. I do have a question though. Ryan Law, were you wearing a ski jacket early on? And maybe you keep your home office a little different temperature than I do, but hope to see that ski jacket back, or see if you've changed in a few minutes. So we're here to talk today. The title is Providing More Digital Opportunities for Media Buyers. And what I'd like to mention is that not just media buyers, but out of home today, and especially digital out of home, is providing litany and myriad opportunities for planners, for clients, for brands, and basically everybody in the omni-channel marketplace because of all that we're delivering today. So I think that's really key. And what we'd like to also talk about a little bit today, we'll move it along because I know it's towards the end, is this omni-channel environment and what has really been demonstrated as the superpower for digital out of home during this past unfortunate year. And that is digital out of home programmatic. As we've touched on already to some degree here, digital out of home programmatic offers great agility and flexibility so needed, especially in the past year and going forward, demonstrating the ability to pause schedules, to push schedules, to move schedules to where audiences are. And I think because we've spent this year hooking up a lot of the platforms, we spent this year demonstrating programmatic, it has really put a great light and showcase on the whole digital out of home environment. And I think the other part, before we go to Maureen, is that traditionally out of home has been great at a branding and reach medium, and it still does that tremendously well. But because of digital and the data and everything encompassed in this, we've also been great at reaching down the marketing funnel to demonstrate consideration, action, and sales ROIs and KPIs. So this is also something that has become really important in the industry as we can target audiences much more effectively and efficiently with great agility. And I think, Maureen, you've done a great job at Kinetic in your whole career, and I know you're from different parts of geography as well. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about how this works with other media. How does out of home and digital out of home work with other media?
Yeah. So much of, the question or, what we're trying to prove here in terms of our session is how does this provide more digital opportunities, not only to buyers, but to planners, to clients, to everybody on that sort of demand side. And if you're on this call and you are in charge of budget allocation or you're in charge of channel allocation, all you have to do is look past on the last 8 sessions, and there's your reason why out of home provides all of these, existential opportunities, digital and what have you. I think we've done a lot of testing, and some of our greatest case studies actually came out of 2020 during COVID. We are brand building. That'll always be our close held to the heart thing that we do. That's not going away, but we're so much more than that. Like, we are truly a performance channel. We know this. We've tested it with a myriad of our partners. We know, it works. We're going to continue to deliver high awareness, but we're really going to help drive brands down the funnel and create action. And I think that's definitely been a piece that's been missing from our lexicon. And it's really exciting to see some of the great work that's coming out, not only of our agency, but of everyone, on this call. We've had some great case studies.
Maureen, I think you've got a favorite word that begins with T. And
I do. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. So much of what I read or I hear when I'm reading about research is everyone likes to label out the out of home channel as traditional. I mean, maybe because, our start came like 200 plus years ago. Okay, I get that. But we're so much more. We are transformative. Like, that is the T word that I would love for the channel to be referred to, because it's all the things that we've talked about, not only in our session, but on these other sessions. It's planning by audiences. It's being agile. It's being versatile. It's following audiences. It's using data. It's using creative dynamic. All those things that are just not what you would think, define something that would be traditional.
You're certainly right. In fact, even today, there's headlines about transformation where we've seen Highstack is doing these big global tie-up deals for programmatic out of home. And we see Adomni doing some great work in taxis in New York City and all over. So that continues. And now I think we're getting the cue to wrap it up. We've got a couple of minutes here. So thank you, Maureen. Thank you, Ryan and the Ad Club. And of course, Gina and Alicia. Thank you all.
Thank you.
ahead, Dave. And Chris,
Hello.
go ahead. There you go.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Dave Yaculo and I'm partner CRO at the newly minted Van Wagner Outdoor. I'm joined by Chris Bray, who is Senior Vice President of Sales for Van Wagner Sports and Entertainment. And our topic today is the opening of live sports entertainment and hopefully the positive impact that's going to have on our industry. Start my video. You know, a lot of people have been wondering because, you know, Van Wagner's been largely on the sidelines in the outdoor space. Just what has Van Wagner been up to since their sale in 2015 of Van Wagner Outdoor? And the answer to that is they've been really focused on building a world-class sports and entertainment company. And Chris is head of sales of that group. And he's going to talk about some of the challenges and opportunities that have emerged as a result of the pandemic and really focus on maybe some of the opportunities for the audience that they've learned as they're coming out of the pandemic. And we're getting more into to live sports and being able to attend sports and music festivals and all the other great things that come along with it. So Chris, I'm just going to turn it over to you.
Sure, appreciate it, Dave. We can't see you, but we hear you loud and clear. Your cameras might not be working, but appreciate the opportunity. You know, for those that don't know, you know, Van Wagner is the leader in out-of-home sports advertising. I'll share my screen here in a second and give you a quick image, but you know, we control TV visible signage in every major sport that you can imagine. And as you can also imagine, when sports came to a complete halt in March, that business was put on pause for quite some time. It's been very, very interesting to see it come back, even without fans there. It just shows the power of the medium, that people are still, you know, putting their dollars into sports as a way to reach those targeted loyal fans. As I'm sure there's many on this call right now, when sports started to come back, we were hungry for it. Viewership was through the roof. And although every stadium and arena is dying for fans to get butts back in seats as soon as possible, it still presented a great opportunity for us to be out there selling our inventory here. I'll just share this with you really quickly. This is kind of what I'm referring to. So, and regardless of what sport you're a fan of, you can kind of see the type of inventory that we typically focus on in every major sport across the country, as well as international soccer overseas. You know, so what this also did for us is we also have a productions group that produces the in-venue audio and video content for any major sporting event you go to. We've done the last 25 Super Bowls, Final Four, US Open, Kentucky Derby, things like that. Again, sports comes to a pause, that whole business is kind of shut down for a while. So we had to quickly pivot, and I know that's the word of the year for many of us, but we had to quickly pivot and figure out how we could utilize our skills, our studio, our producers, and we got into the virtual events business, and we're very, very well equipped for it, given the capabilities and the experience that our guys have. So, you know, we didn't get into this for a short run opportunity. We're in this for the long haul. I think virtual is going to be here for a little while longer, as we all know, and then it's going to start transitioning to hybrid, where there's, you know, some type of a live component, but still the need for that virtual element as well, before people get back to a fully live, immersed environment. So it's been an interesting 12 months for us, to say the least, but excited about the new opportunities that it presented for us.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm not sure what's happening with my camera, but we'll carry on. Chris, why don't you share some examples of some of the brands that you think have really won through this transition from live event to virtual? I mean, I'm just thinking about what you and team had to go through, from producing the NFL draft to actual going to a virtual event where you had to have all the coaches and players. Sure. And what that took place. And really what I want to get to is, you know, how can the audience take advantage of this opportunity to a hybrid model or virtual, and how do you monetize that?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, if for those that saw the NFL draft in April of last year, the NFL gave us about 2 weeks notice. We produced the NFL draft live every year. They called, they canceled, they asked us if we could produce it virtually. We did it. It was the highest rated draft in NFL history. I'd love to take all the credit for it, but I think a good chunk of that had to do with the fact that we were all locked in our houses dying for some sports content. However, the response that the NFL fans gave back was that they loved it because what we produced brought you into the homes of players, coaches, owners, et cetera. So this year, next month, we'll be producing it again. It will be more in a hybrid format where we will be in Cleveland doing a lot of the live components. And then all the stuff that you saw last year, controlling 100+ cameras around the country, we're going to integrate that as well. So it'll kind of be a hybrid of both. But, the NFL event aside, we work with a lot of corporations to produce their investor conferences and sales meetings and kickoff events and things like that. And there are definitely opportunities to monetize those. We've created kind of virtual trade show experiences where sponsors can still have a presence online and have the ability to get into a breakout room and have one-on-one contact with clients that they would have had if they were in person there. So, even though it is virtual, the environment right now, there still are absolutely ways to monetize that. And we've proved that with many of our clients, which is great.
Well, thank you for sharing that, and I'm gonna bring it back full circle to the out of home, and that is, everybody is poised for the opening of live entertainment and Broadway shows, and I'm just thinking about what we're going to have to look forward to for the second half of the year with Broadway opening up. I mean, we just saw in Las Vegas over the last couple of weeks with shows opening up there, just a huge surge in business and much needed local business, certainly for that market. And we're looking to have that bounce back in Manhattan, for example, when Broadway opens back up. But I know we're running short on time here. So I want to thank the Ad Club once again for showcasing another great event, and really all the speakers for covering a number of really great topics. And Alicia, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Thanks, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Hopefully you can. Anyway, wow, that was very ambitious. And for some of you that went over, good thing this wasn't a real Thunderdome, but I'm glad we had so much fun today. Listen, there's clearly so much to talk about in out of home. We at the Ad Club will continue the conversations via our newsletter, a Q4 webinar, and we're going to get together in person or hybrid in December. So we look forward to that. If you want today's content to share, we'll be sending it to everyone who registered afterwards. You can also visit us on our website, theadvertisingclub.org. Thanks to everybody who contributed. Everybody stay safe, healthy, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks so much. Have a great day.